They fired her the moment they saw the pregnancy test on her desk. But 3 years later, she walked into the same building not for a job but to own everything and destroy everyone who betrayed her. When Myra entered the building that morning, everything looked normal: coffee brewing, keyboards clacking, people murmuring inside their glass-walled offices. But the silent shift in the air came the moment she passed reception. No ID. No greeting. Just a click of her heels on marble and a leather folder held tightly in her hand. In the exact room where she once sat, trembling, she now walked like a storm. They didn't know she was back. But she remembered every face. Every word. Every silent stare. 3 years earlier, Myra was glowing. Not just because she was expecting, but because her pitch for the new tech division had been approved. Her ideas had gained traction across departments, and for the first time since joining Sinkware, she felt seen. Respected. Valued. But that changed the day she left a pregnancy test in the bathroom trash. It was positive. And someone found it. The very next day, Myra was called into HR. No warning, no reason that made sense. Just vague talk about restructuring and role redundancy. She was handed a termination letter with cold hands and colder eyes. As she sat there, her fingers tightening over her slightly swelling belly, she felt the world collapse. Her ideas were now theirs. Her vision would be launched without her. And her future. Crushed in a single breathless meeting. She packed her desk in silence. No one looked up. Except for Jenna, the only intern who dared to hug her goodbye. Everyone else was too scared. Or too indifferent. Myra walked out, humiliated, tears threatening but never falling. She promised herself that day, if the world was going to treat her like she was disposable, she'd return one day and show them she was unstoppable. The following months were brutal. She lost her apartment. Her savings dried up. Her baby was born in a public hospital room with cracked tiles and no one waiting outside. But Myra didn't break. She built. With a newborn on her lap, she began coding again. Freelancing. Pitching her rejected tech ideas to investors with one hand while holding her daughter in the other. Rejections piled up. But she didn't stop. And finally, someone listened. An independent VC firm in Berlin took a risk. They funded her prototype, a data security platform far ahead of anything Sinkware had. Myra scaled it. Quietly. Brilliantly. Within 2 years, she wasn't just profitable, she was powerful. Investors lined up. Competitors panicked. And Sinkware? They had no idea the woman behind the rising storm that was Veritech was the same woman they'd fired while she was pregnant. Then came the offer. Sinkware, bleeding resources, approached Myra's holding company unknowingly. They offered to sell a controlling share in desperation, never realizing who was behind the curtain. She signed the papers under a holding firm. And today, she walked in. Not as Myra the employee, but as Myra the owner. As she stood in front of the glass doors to the boardroom, she inhaled slowly. The same scent, floor polish, cheap coffee, institutional coldness. But today, she was fire. She entered the room. Every face turned. The same HR head blinked in confusion. "Can we help you?" he said, patronizing, like nothing had happened. Myra didn't respond. She placed the leather folder on the table. "I own this company now," she said. "And you're all fired." Silence. Then shock. Then stammered defenses. "Wait, we didn't." She cut them off with a raised hand. "You saw a pregnancy test on a desk. And you saw liability. I see a woman who built an empire while feeding a newborn with one hand." One by one, she handed them sealed letters, not pink slips. Terminations with no severance. Their own policies, turned against them. As they left the room, eyes wide, mouths open, Myra sat in the CEO's chair, the one they once told her she wasn't ready for. In the outer office, Jenna, the old intern, stood with coffee, waiting nervously. Myra smiled. "You start Monday. As vice president." The little girl in the hallway? That was Myra's daughter. She twirled in the sunlight by the window, giggling. Myra looked at her and knew, revenge wasn't about anger. It was about justice. And legacy. And from now on, Every woman who walked into this company would never be dismissed for carrying life. Because the woman at the top had once been crushed and had rebuilt herself from dust.